Missions. It is the heartbeat of God. The Lord tells us in Matthew the 28th chapter, the 19th verse, to go and make disciples of all nations. Everyone, everywhere, every day should be our heart's cry because it is His heartbeat. This month, we will be focusing on access challenged nations. An access challenged nation is a country or territory that meet at least two of the following three criteria. There is little or no known indigenous apostolic presence. There is open hostility to the gospel among the local population, whether political, social, or religious. There is limited physical access because there is closed immigration and or strict visa policies. These 29 nations and territories present unique challenges in the areas of access, evangelism, and eventual support for believers on site. Over the next few weeks, we will hear from 3 RCP members about their experiences overseas. Listen to their stories, take in their words, and begin to take on the heartbeat of God in your own lives.
Hello, my name is Darrell Foksinski. I was born in Detroit, Michigan. I was in the United States Air Force for 28 years. Earlier in my career, my family and I, we were stationed in Japan, just outside of Tokyo, for approximately 18 years, off and on. What we enjoyed about Japan when we were there is we enjoyed the people, how they have a love for nature and flowers blooming everywhere, and how they would upkeep their homes even though their homes were very small. We enjoyed the food that was there. We enjoyed going out to the ocean and enjoying the water out there. It was a wonderful time for my family and I, and we miss it very much. So when I was about of the age of 25, 26, 27, I knew that the way that I was living, there had to be some type of change. And it's amazing how God probably heard me crying out, because there was times when I would cry out in my drunken stupors, and realizing that it was affecting my family and my children in such a negative way. And then it's amazing, when we moved to California, we met a neighbor who I thought was kind of a strange man, but all he talked to me about was God. And through him, eventually received the Holy Ghost. This was back in 1989. And from there, God just lined it up to where we were able to attend a United Pentecostal church. And so since 1989, we've been serving the Lord, and we're thankful for His hand upon our lives. There was many challenges in Japan. One of them most especially was how to reach the Japanese men. Because of the work ethic there in Japan, these men would work 10, 12, 14 hours a day, Monday through Saturday. So when it came time for Sunday and we would have church services, they didn't have any interest to come into church. Fortunately, we were able to minister to many of the Japanese men, and some of those men are still serving the Lord today. So that was a great challenge. Another great challenge in Japan was that many, it doesn't matter what age that they were, they didn't even know who Jesus Christ was. I remember one time I was flying back to the States and talked with a man sitting next to me, Japanese man, told him that I was attending church in Ibaraki, and he was from Ibaraki. And he asked me the question, why do you go to Ibaraki? And I said, because we are going to church there. And he had kind of a puzzled look on his face, and he said, church. And then he asked me the question in broken English. He said, why do you go to church? And I said, to know Jesus Christ. And once again, he had a puzzled look on his face. And basically, he said at that point, he was like, after a few seconds, he was like, who is Jesus Christ? So that's the challenge of Japan, is they have so much culture and they're so embedded in their culture that they don't even know who Jesus is. Now, as far as the blessings of the church, once these folks come in, they are a dedicated people. They give their lives and the raising of their children in the things of God. Many families that we've known throughout the years, precious saints of God. They are such a tender people, a loving people, a caring people. And that's how the Lord wants us to be in the church today as well. So for all of those years that we were in Japan, there in the Tokyo area, there was probably about 4 or 5 different churches. And we would always come together. We would always have special times together that we would just have a service together, and we would invite other churches like to visit our church, or we would go to another church, the whole church. We would hop on a bus and we would go down into the Tokyo area from Ibaraki. And that's something that I have never seen in the States, is that there's no connection between the churches. Basically what's happening is that everybody has like they're trying to control their own area. I've even heard of stories where it's been said amongst pastors that you can't even talk to saints from another church, or I've heard of youth that know youth of a different church, and they're instructed that they cannot talk one to another. I don't think that the Lord wants us to be that way. We're all brethren, brothers and sisters in the Lord, and we're all growing together. And that's something I think that we need to knock these barriers down and come together as a whole, as a church.